So I was scrolling through Twitter the other day and I saw this article on hyperrock. It was getting dunked on a lot, and understandably, because calling Jane Remover hyper anything is a horrendous take. But I'm here to tell you that hyperrock absolutely does exist, just not in the way that this article thinks it does. Over the last several years, the Japanese hyperpop scene has blossomed, and quite a few of the artists in that scene have been progressively transitioning to more rock-inspired music, while still maintaining a lot of the hyperpop elements. And it's really cool. So let me introduce you to actual hyperrock, and not Asian Glow. I've actually wanted to make a video like this for months, and it's been in my potential videos document since like July. The main reason for that is because of my love of the band Sato, who I think is the main band leading this hyperrock charge. Their album Born in Asia is the single best example of the sound out there, and was also my most streamed album of last year, because this thing is incredibly addictive. And it makes sense why it's addictive, because one thing that immediately jumps out on you about this album is the sheer amount of good hooks. They're everywhere. Honestly, every single song on this album has at least one great hook, except for maybe one track. Right off the bat, if you want super catchy music, Born in Asia has you covered. On Air and Hurry Up are probably my favorites on the album for that reason. The hyperpop elements and the indie rock stuff work together really seamlessly on this record. On tracks like Rainbow, Sato works 808s, vocal manipulation, and loud-ass kick drums into their guitar rock sound, and it's not like they're added on or anything. This would not work with normal rock production. It's Sato's hyperpop influenced traits that make it so good. And they're also great at working with features on this album. Lovely Summer-chan has been in all kinds of places in Japanese indie over the last decade, from dream pop to alt-rock, but she sounds really at home delivering a rap verse over Sato's stripped-back guitar beat. They've got Aryy, who I'll touch on a little later as well, to help on the short but sweet I Think I'm Drunk, and there's also Kwando, who spends his time back and forth between his electronic solo project and being the singer in indie rock band No Buses, lending his vocals on Hate Bones. And it's not just Born in Asia. Sato continues to push their sounds forwards. The collab After Show with Harry Teardrop starts with a heavily processed and manipulated section that eventually gives way to a raw or shoegaze-like bit that achieves a really cool effect with synths and rapid drums. Also, recently, they signed with a major label, Toys Factory, who have artists you might recognize like Eve, Rail, and Mr. Children, all of whom are huge in the J-pop industry. Their first song on that label was OK, which veers more into electronic grunge. It's cool. Sato is a key band in this scene, and their members are also pretty active elsewhere, collabing with and doing videos for other artists. And I think they're really a band to watch going forwards as well. So let's circle back to Aryy. He does a lot of straight up indie rock and bedroom pop type stuff, but his song Emotion fits in with this mold really well. It's a tight minute-and-a-half long song that is not at all short on energy. It's in a similar mold to Sato, with the loud indie rock guitars being thrown in between woozy synths and 808 hi-hats. And if you look at the music video, it was directed by Lina Fig, Sato's singer. Next up, let's talk about another one of the biggest artists in this scene, Lil Soft Tennis. I didn't make that artist name, don't ask me. He's an artist that's recently shifted into more straight-up rap music than anything else, but he's still done more than his fair share of weird hyperrock. Like on his debut, Bedroom Rockstar Confused, which is one of the most unique sounding albums I've ever heard. It sees him doing not just hyperpop and not just doing indie rock, but throwing in like rap and shoegaze and garage rock as well. It's all over the place, but I mean that in a very complimentary way, because nothing sounds like anything else here. New Orgy and Oracle are probably the closest this album gets to straight up hyperpop, while Lucid Dreams and 21 are both pretty straight up indie rock. And then everything else gets really weird with it. The album opens on a title track, which is filled with 808 hi-hats while also having a really shoegazy chorus, and I think that sets the mood pretty well. The track Bring Back has some heavily processed vocals over a really fun breakbeat. Medicine is grungy garage rock. This album is, if nothing else, chaotic, which makes it really fun. Bedroom Rockstar Confused sounds weird, but it's actually a really accurate title to what you end up getting on this album. Sounds like it's made in his bedroom, it sounds like he's trying to be a rock star, but it also sounds like he's really confused on what he's actually trying to do. It's genuinely a really fun album. Both this one and Born in Asia are short. They're both like 25 minutes. Definitely worth a listen. And while Lil Soft Tennis has moved away from this sound a little bit, his most recent album, I Have a Wing, still is one worth talking about, that being Fucked Up, which is a blend of rap, rock, and relentless 808s. It doesn't fit as neatly into the style as a lot of his earlier stuff, especially as it's a lot cleaner and lays pretty heavily off the electronics, but it's good, so I'm including it anyway. We've heard about Lil Soft Tennis. We've heard about aryy. I wonder what they'd make if they worked together. Well, good news, they do under the name Heaven. They, along with Riona, team up to create some of the most insane shit I've ever heard. And I mean, they've got normal hyper rock on tracks like Bolt and I from their album Air, which are both really great tracks that also blend in some moodier sections and some rapping into the style. But the real thing I want to talk about with Heaven is their song So Wet Boys, which I frequently cite as the single weirdest song I've ever heard in my life. I mentioned earlier that the title track from Bedroom Rockstar Confused was a blend of trap and shoegaze. This takes that idea and cranks it up to about 1,000, to the point where it's bordering on noise rock instead. It's a rap song, but taking random hyperpop samples and synths, and also loud shoegaze. I've never heard anything like it in my life. It's fucking insane. It's absolutely amazing. You would not think this works as well as it does. The loud and harsh shoegaze is somehow blended really well into the super auto-tuned rap, sound effects of kids cheering, and video game synths. It's also really catchy, the chorus serves as a pretty good hook, and somehow the rapping is like actually really good here. Everyone is shout rapping over the instrumental like they're desperately trying to be heard. It's crazy. This song is a mess that's like some sort of chaotic, abstract work of genius, and I love it so much. So those are our main examples, but there's plenty of other artists that are flirting with the sound in one way or another, like the band TMP. Their album Vector was kind of just hyperpop, but their single Seventh World in the Computer is a great example of why I love this sound in the first place. It's super catchy with a great J-rock chorus, heavily processed vocals, a rap verse about super chats, and the guitarist wearing a Philadelphia Eagles jersey in the music video. Put all that together and you've got a really great song that I got addicted to for a while. Tasta's peanut phenomenon is not really the sound we've established for this genre, but it is hyper, and it is rock, and it's really good, so I'm including it in the list anyway. This channel is a dictatorship. Deal with it. This song is delusional, bouncing light hyperpop rap sections off an incredibly loud and compressed chorus, where the singer sounds like he's screaming for his life. And there's also a rap verse from a peanut VTuber just to top it all off. It's insanity, it's great. Good Pop is more of a typical hyperpop album, but it's also amazing and is probably my favorite hyperpop album of all time, so listen to it. It's also only like 25 minutes. A lot of short albums on this list. Who28 is another artist in this scene that's worked with Sato before, and I want to highlight his song Banger, which is in fact a banger. A lot of songs in this style feel like primarily indie rock with hyperpop tinges. This is the other way around, where it's primarily hyperpop with indie rock elements. Because Who28 typically does more rap-influenced hyperpop stuff, this is a bit of an outlier. It's not as catchy as some of the earlier tracks, but it is a really fun production and is a cool dichotomy between the pretty regular verses and the chipmunk chorus. I like it. There's also Tahiti, a member of rap group Star Kids, who did a song called Kaiho that fits into this style really well. He brings in one of his friends from Star Kids, Levi, and they both rap over an instrumental that kind of bounces back and forth between heavy hyperpop bass and driving guitar rock. It's like that aryy song earlier. It's only like a minute and a half, and it's a short and sweet blast of energy. And finally, I want to talk about a band who is not at all part of this wave, but a band who has been surprisingly willing to experiment with some of the sounds going on in it. And also, again, a band I really like and want an excuse to talk about. Age Factory is an emo band that's been around since 2010, and they have some really good music. They started with more Midwest emo influences on their early stuff, before moving into J-rock and then shoegaze a little as well. Recently though, they've been playing shows with Sato and Who28, and you can tell on the singles from their upcoming album that it's rubbing off on them. Party Night and Summer Dream sees Age Factory making a sharp turn into electronics, something they've never really used before, with verses consisting mostly of heavily auto-tuned vocals. They also did Blood and Blue, a song that's propelled forwards by its loud electronic kick drum and repeated use of hi-hats, similar to what we've seen with bands like Sato. And if you thought that wasn't enough, the song was remixed by Fritz, a member of Tasta, who I mentioned earlier. And the album is produced by Riona of Heaven. It all comes around. So there's your intro to hyper rock. I hope I've convinced you that this is an actual thing, and that Jane Remover is firmly not in it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate y'all. Bye.